Good morning. On behalf of the entire team at Ware, I'd like to welcome all of you to Q2B 2021. And I'm really happy to see all of you in person. This really means a lot to us that all of you have taken the time and gone through all the complexity to come here in person. I'm just going to kick things off by talking about a couple things administratively, and then we'll get on with these three information-packed days. First of all, thank you for the patience in complying with the COVID protocols we've put in place. We weren't mandated by the state or any other agency to put the degree of protocols in place we did, but we wanted everyone to feel comfortable. So we really appreciate that. If I may, I would just like to have a show of hands for who out there in the audience is this the first major gathering since COVID happened? Can I just see a show of hands? Wow, so that's like well over 50%. Okay, that's really impressive. And for how many people out there is this your first Q2B? All right, that's something like 40 or 50%. That's also a good sign. Let me ask you this kind of last trick question. For who out here has made it to all 5 Q2Bs, including last year's virtual? All right, I'm seeing Carl. I know Jim Gable has. Okay, that's about 20 or 30%. Very impressive. Okay, thanks very much. So really quickly, just to set the stage for those of you who are here for the first time, let's talk about the mission of Q2B, and that is really to accelerate application discovery. That's that missing link right now, actually, in quantum computing, and this is why the entire technology stack of quantum computing is present. Now, I think all of us know what happens at Q2B. The real goal is to get everyone updated on the state of the art of what's happening in the quantum computing industry, and that's why really the leaders in industry are going to spend the next 3 days talking to you about what they've been developing. That gives you the building blocks you need to start doing what we all care about, which is establishing collaborations really between the enterprise users and the entire, as I mentioned, technology stack of quantum computing. The team that we have to work with is very large. Q2B continues to grow and grow, and really all the leaders, all the big stakeholders on the hardware side, algorithm side, software side, academic institutions, venture capital firms, they all gather for this. And so we're really proud of that and really happy that we can pull everyone together for these 3 days. Q2B continues to grow. Now, we continue to grow. Actually, this year we're over 600 in-person participants. Last year we had 1,000, that was all virtual. Now, the 600 this year, and I think actually at last count we're at about 620, we're quite happy with this because we're a little bit handicapped. A lot of our friends from Asia and Europe really were not able to come because of all the complexities around travel and COVID. So I think, in a lot of cases, firms that report financial performance talk about adjusted EBITDA or pro forma EBITDA. I actually believe like pro forma attendance, if we could adjust for that, we'd probably be well over 1,000, but I'm sure we will be by next year. The key is, and this is what I'd really like to spend a minute or two talking about, the only reason Q2B can come off every year is through the generous input of financial resources and time from our sponsors. Our platinum sponsor this year is Quantinum, which, as most of you know, is the recently announced combination between Honeywell Quantum Solutions and Cambridge Quantum. So we're really pleased with that. They'll be giving a keynote tomorrow on day 2. AFRL, the Air Force Research Lab, is also the other very large sponsor. As a former Air Force officer, I'm really pleased that AFRL, for the 4th consecutive year, has stepped up once again to be a key sponsor and really led the way for a lot of the government investment in this space. You hear from Mike Haydick just after me, and there's another AFRL keynote on day 3. Please attend. Then the next tier is the diamond sponsors. Now, all of these companies will be doing a demo talk on day 1, followed by a thought leadership talk on day 2. So please attend those talks. We have also a set of gold sponsors. They are going to do on day 2, they're going to spell out for you their product vision. So really be great if you could attend those talks. The showcase sponsors, as the word suggests, they're going to be showcasing their product offerings throughout the 3 days of the conference. So all of that is spread out. And then, of course, exhibitor sponsors, as the name implies, You can meet all of these companies in the exhibition room, and so please do spend time with them. Finally, and very importantly, the groups that are providing all the fuel and the stimulants, the legal stimulants, of course, for this whole conference. I'd like to give a nod to them as well, because that's really what keeps us going through these days. Now, interesting, when Q2B 2017 happened, that was just 48 short months ago. And at that time, there really were just a handful of commercial firms operating in the space. This, our friends at Evercore put together, is just a snapshot of some of the companies that are operating across the technology stack. So this is literally getting dense. I think on the startup side alone, there are over 250, some are approaching 300 startups that have at least got a seed round of venture capital raised and that are operating in this space. Similarly, since Q2B started in 2017, between then and today, that's 48 months later, there's been a 10x step up in the amount of private capital from the private and public equity markets into the quantum computing space. That's enormous. So I think all of you know what the agenda is for the next 3 days. I don't need to go into any detail. So just kind of sit back and relax and pace yourself because it's going to take a lot of time and energy to keep up on everything.